Oh, okay, everybody. Happy Tuesday, Monday. Happy Magical Monday with Bay on a Tuesday. I didn't get it together yesterday, um, for reasons. I'm trying to think if there's a good reason. I actually just forgot that I was working on moving my projects forward and getting stuff done. I'm working on empowering some new structures and having life just be altogether more beautiful slash awesome. And what that looked like yesterday is high-fiving myself for getting so many things done from my list, but totally forgetting that it was Monday and to do a Magic Monday. So there's that. Then I just took all the time to set up in the sunroom to do a Magic Monday. Oh, we got a dog off. It's Grimby's birthday today, and Pongo just stole his bed. So I feel for you, but come here. Oh, okay, we'll just sadly lay there. Well, we don't always get what we want on our birthdays. Anyway, yes, I set up to do this in the sunroom, but it is, how hot is it? I'm gonna find out. It's like 29 degrees Celsius, which is toasty. It's toasty. And in the sunroom, I should put a thermostat. Thermometer. The thermostat is the thing that changes the temperature. I should put a thermometer in the sunroom because it's significantly hotter in the sunroom. But now I'm just curious. What's 29? In Fahrenheit, is 84 feels like hotter. I feel like 80s people think is pleasant, but it feels very warm to me. Again, I am made for a fairly narrow band of climate. So this is toasty to me. And the sunroom is several degrees warmer on the count of it being essentially like a glass greenhouse. So then I had to like I set up in the dining room, but the lighting was weird. So then I came to my office and set up in here. So here we are. Here we are today. I hope you had a good weekend. How was your weekend? How was your Monday? See, I don't normally get to ask that on Monday because you're still in it. But now it's Tuesday. You're a whole day past it. How is it? Tell me. Um, I'm drinking some delicious mint tea from mint that I grew in my very own back. Well, I mean, I did grow it in the backyard. It was growing when we moved in. And here, if you have you grown mint? Do you know about mint? Here's the thing with mint. Mint grows like crazy. And it's really challenging to pull out. So this is our seventh, is that right? We're moving into our seventh year because we moved in the end of summer 2018 and it's 2025. So like I guess we're moving into our seventh year. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, eighth year? I don't know. We've been here for a while. Anyway, I ended up pulling the mint because it just takes over. Mint goes crazy. So I pulled it for multiple years and then finally I realized like, oh wait, I might actually want some mint. So then I started pulling mint and then I put it in a pot uh, because then it is contained. Or so I thought. But let me tell you, that mint has shown up in places that I definitely did not put it. I have found that mint. This year I found it in my strawberry patch. It's like 30 feet away from where the mint is planted. It's mostly all pulled from the flower bed that it was in before. But anyway, crazy. Mint. Very persistent. Persistent mint. Persistent mint. Persistent mint. Anyway, if you have mint growing in your yard, I mean, you could buy mint, but I just think it's more fun when you grow it yourself. And you make mint tea with fresh mint leaves, it is an experience. Oh my gosh, it's heavenly. You get the fresh mint, it's not like fresh mint like toothpaste, it's just fresh mint. It is mint that is fresh. And then you just pour boiling water over it. You pour it into your cup, and then you put some honey in it, and it's like Moroccan mint tea. Have you had Moroccan mint tea? Have you been to Morocco? Tell me. I have not been to Morocco, but I would like to go because I really like Moroccan food. Though I think it's pretty hot there, so I think I would struggle. I am willing to struggle in the heat when I'm like experiencing a new place. You know, like if it's an adventure, I'm here for it. It's just when I'm home I whine. That's a lie. I whine in other places when I'm hot too. I'm just a whiny person in the heat. Again, I'm not cut out for it. As always, let me know if you're watching, whether you're watching live, hey, how are you? Or whether you're watching on the old playback. Just let me know and comment because it's more fun, and I will respond. What's more fun than that? So today, I wanted to talk about a couple things. You could tell, first of all, my office is in a bit of disarray. That's because there was here a cabinet that was actually not really a cabinet, it was a Murphy bed. But the Murphy bed idea, having my office also be a guest room, was a great idea in concept and theory, but in practicality, it didn't work very well. So the Murphy bed has moved on to a new home where it can be useful, and I will be getting better storage options for my office so that I can have a cleaner, tidier office. Here's the thing, actually, it sounds foolish, but before I get onto the topic du jour, I want to talk about something, which is that I think there's kind of like two kinds of people in the world. So there are like the minimalists, the Scandinavian style minimalists, the people who don't like to collect things. They like empty surfaces. They like everything kind of in its place and not having clutter. So there's those people. And then I think there's like the people who like they're collectors. They're collectors. They collect curios. They collect whatever. They probably collect multiple things because it's not so much that they are a collector of one thing. They are a collector, and collectors find things to collect. And so often they will have like a lot of things out, she says, looking at her desk, which honestly is overwhelming. That might have a lot of things out, like knickknacks or curios or just like souvenirs that they've picked up through their life. So I think that there's these two kinds of people. I think they often marry each other, and that becomes a source of friction. It's definitely the case with Adam and I. Although, that being said, you've all seen Adam's office when he does his lives. And he has things too. So I am not sure that he's a Gemini, so maybe he's both. I am definitely both. I always kind of joke that inside of me there are two wolves. One wolf is a Scandinavian minimalist, and one wolf is a French country collector. And they're just constantly in a fight. Because here's what I've learned about myself. I love my things. I love, like, not in a like a materialistic vanity way. It's not like I don't like collecting things for status. I don't even know if well, I'm sure it is. The things I collect, you cannot collect for status, I don't think. Um, Wands, not like designer bags. I'm not collecting designer bags or designer shoes, or I do have a very large shoe collection, but they're not designer in the way that you would think. They're not high heels. Everyone's like, oh, you have a lot of shoes. They must be like Jimmy Choo's and Louboutins. I don't own a single pair of either of those. I am not a luxury brand person at all. But there's like things that I really like crystals. Look at this. Look at that beautiful piece of labradorite. Look at ta. Look at Planet just made this. She's like, you know what? Here's a pretty rock. So I like things like that, and I like having them all around me. So I have collections. You can see some. There's Harry Potter themed cushionry. Um, you can't see this. This is horrifying. So is that. I'm embarrassed of what you can't see. I've just told you now, so we'll see how that goes. But here's the thing. I realize that like I kind of go in these, I feel like maybe everyone does. I go in these like waves where I just want to purge and get rid of everything. And then I get rid of everything and it's like, oh my gosh, so nice I can breathe. I am going to collect and amass things again. I think this is the human condition. Have you ever moved from an apartment? I mean, you have. Like if you've ever moved from an apartment or to a new home, and like when you're packing to move, you're just throwing stuff out. I don't even want this anymore. You throw it out. Then you move into the new place, you throw out more as you unpack. And like once you've unpacked, because even though you tried to throw out stuff when you were packing to move, you get to the new place and you're like, why did I even keep that? So it's kind of a benefit of putting your life in a box for a while, or in my case, many boxes. Um, because it kind of has you live life without your stuff. And I do genuinely think that stuff is stressful for us. It is for me. I don't know if I can speak for, I do think it is. Like capitalism is bad and we're all just trying to mass stuff, even if you don't like it. I don't like capitalism, but I like stuff. So here we are. So what I notice is there's like the collections of things that bring me joy, right? Like, look, here's another look at this labradorite. What? Okay, yeah, it's all about catching the light, right? What? It's beautiful. So I love my beautiful things, and I also get overwhelmed by my stuff. So then what I want is a clear space. But I'm not really good at keeping my space clear. Does that make sense? I'm very good at keeping things clean. I like clean and cleaning, but I'm not very good at decluttering because I tend to accrue more things. And like when I swear I'm just gonna have one pen to rule them all because I think disposable things, especially pens, are just a nightmare. And if you're a writer, you should have a really good pen. So Adam, God bless him, bought me the one pen to rule them all. This is genuinely the best. Um, I like fountain pens because I'm fancy. And I think this is the best fountain pen of all fountain pens. This is a Kaweco brass, or I'm not even sponsored. I should, honestly though, Kaweco, if you're listening, I should be one, because I'm speaking publicly. Two, I send Kaweco pens to all of my clients. So I send them all around the world. And three, even though this was meant to be the one pet, like it's still very appealing to me in concept. This isn't even the topic of the day. I should just change my write up and talk about this instead. Maybe that's what I'll do. Um, it's still very appealing to me to have the idea of just like, this is my pen. This is the one pen I own. And it's like hefty and made of metal and valuable and really, really nice. And so I'm going to, and infinitely refillable because you get cartridges. And if you really don't want to throw plastic cartridges in recycle, you can refill them, which I do because I am that nerd. Um, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So I still like the idea of having this be my one pen, but the problem is when I like a thing a lot, then I want more of them. So, so you know, that's what happens because then it turns out they made it in bronze. I like it. They're almost indistinguishable. I mean, they're different. That's different metals. But for all intents and purposes, they're indistinguishable. But I needed them. And then they come in like other colors. What? My favorite color? So then I'm screwed because everyone's making beautiful things and they make them in beautiful colors. And I have no resolve, no backbone against beautiful things that I love that come in multiple colors, especially when it's my favorite colors. So anyway, I'm going to leave you thinking I just have 4 of these pens. That's untrue. When I die, everyone who loves me was going to be bequeathed a pen, and it will last for the rest of your life, and you shall leave it for members of your family. This is my legacy. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about this, I totally am going to change the write up for what today is talking about because this is, I think, a valuable topic. And I feel like lots of people can relate. So, who else can relate to feeling cluttered? And that might be, you might be your stuff. Maybe it's your schedule. Maybe you have too many things taking up your time. Do you find yourself easily distractible? Do you find yourself maybe getting frustrated or grumpy when things do distract you? So in part, I think that's like an honest byproduct of the world in which we live, right? So humans are infinitely distractible in general. Like truly, if you put me out in a field staring at clouds, I'm gonna be like, oh, look at that one. Oh, there's a deer over there. Suddenly I'm gonna be English. But so whilst I think we're already fairly distractible, we in the past 25 years have had the internet. And then we've had like computers that fit in the palm of our hand. You realize this computer, this phone, is a more powerful computer than the computers I used for like the first, oh my gosh, 10 years of ever even having a computer in my home. Like this is wild. And so on top of like having these boxes of distraction, we have social media. It's a beautiful picture of my mom when I took her for equine therapy. Um, so we have these. devices that allow us to do all kinds of things. Uh, Math. Remember when your teachers were like, well, you won't always have a calculator there? Yeah, I will. I will, and I do. So I, I'll get over that one. But we now have like the internet, we have social media. And the thing about those services is that now we're even more distractible. We have constant notifications, we have messages, we have like email inbox. Like it's just we're constantly barraged with things that pull our attention that are distracting. So in general, I think most of us are overwhelmed in general. And then if you are not one of the lucky people who was born a Scandinavian minimalist, then you're probably overwhelmed by your stuff as well. Like if you ever stood in your closet, where I don't know very many people who don't have what they would call too much clothing. Like most of the people that I know, totally myself included, would admit to having way too much clothing and would benefit from going through their closet and releasing and purging a bunch of clothes. Like hands up if this is you. It's you. I have never met anyone for whom that isn't the case. Like even people who aren't wouldn't consider themselves like clothing people, like they don't really care about fashion, it's not really their thing. They would probably still be like, yeah, there's at least, some pants and a sweater that I don't wear anymore. Or like I have a tie, but I don't know why. Um, so this I think is all of us. I think we naturally tend to accumulate. And if you look back throughout history, humans have done this like forever. The pharaohs were buried with people. They collected people for crying out loud, right? Let alone their goods and items, precious items that they might want to take with them into the next life. And so we know a lot of these things because we have seen in our burial treatments of humans over thousands and thousands and thousands of years that people have often been buried with certain items. And we're often left now to assume that those items mean something about this person. If we found a grave and in that grave was a sword and a shield, I might assume this was a warrior. If I found a grave and found like I don't know, doesn't even make sense because it probably wouldn't survive, but like carving material, like things for making handiwork, I might assume this was an artisan. I got there eventually, right? And so essentially, we tend to accumulate things and collect things throughout our lives, and they can feel meaningful for a lot of reasons, right? Like we might hold on to things that feel meaningful because of who gave it to us or where we were when we discovered it or found it or picked it up, or it represents an important milestone in our life, right? So, and then we just hold on to these things. So, again, I think we genuinely come by this fairly honestly. And I think, at least in Western culture, we tend to be um, we're sort of and capitalism between Western civilization and capitalism, we've tended to kind of focus on accruing, and we are trained into accruing more things or more stuff. And even if we think that that's a bad thing, and most of us I think that's a bad thing, like we all think it's something to be ashamed of, but we all do it at the same time. So um anyway, this is something that I think is true of us, and for me, it's a real struggle. And I because like I said, I'm not great at decluttering, and I'm not like the greatest at letting things go. I've gotten a lot better, and I've definitely learned the benefit of it. And I really, when I'm into it and when I'm doing it, like it feels so good. Purging a closet or like clearing off my space and sorting stuff out or like getting rid of paper. Paper's the worst, but I don't want to keep paper. But it feels really good to declutter and minimize my stuff. But I inevitably find myself acquiring more, right? So it doesn't matter how good it felt to get rid of it. It slowly and surreptitiously seems to creep back in the middle of the night. So is this you? I feel like it's probably you. And so anyway, when I finally realized that having this wall bed that is not there anymore, but was a giant cabinet that was behind me, wasn't really the best use of the space because it essentially it's the largest wall in my office and it was spent being of no use to me. So I decided to release the bed, which was hard a little bit because so interesting. My mom only got to spend one night here, but she was supposed to be spending every weekend for a really long time here. And we just only got one night because she was taken a little sooner than all of us thought. And so I had like this emotional attachment to the Murphy bed, but realistically, she literally slept one night in it. Um, but it was the attachment to the idea of what it should have been, right? So now I was holding on to this bed that doesn't make sense. And to be honest, it doesn't make sense in my office anyway, because to open the bed means I have to move stuff out of the way of my office. So like I have to move the chair. I can't use my office if we have a guest over. So it really doesn't work. Um, and then we were planning on doing a fairly large scale renovation, and we would have been putting a master bedroom suite into the attic of our house. So then our current master bedroom was going to become a guest room, and the Murphy bed was going to move down the hall and go into that room. Perfect use for it. Perfect. But then life happened as it did, and between my mom getting sick and my mom passing away, and then me getting sick, and just life, and then the economy, and then politics, and the planet, it's really we've had to take a pause and realize that we're not in a great place right now to do that large scale of a renovation. So then I'm holding on to this Murphy bed, which I it's years, indeterminate number of years before I can move that bed to where I wanted to save it for. So I finally just realized that I was it's like that I was sort of living in a space that wasn't here and now. And it wasn't fully for me. So this is my office, except when it's a guest room. It's almost never a guest room because it's so inconvenient to have my guest room be my office. So like I was kind of living in this present moment, but sort of in an unrealistic like fantasy world at the same time. Like one, living for a future time when we would do this renovation. It's indeterminate. It's not going to be in the next year or two that we're doing this, unless our fortune were to drastically change and our circumstances. Then it's not happening right away. Um, Two, it had me have this room be kind of like a split focus. So instead of it being like what I need it to be for me, for my office, I spend every day in here. Monday through Friday, I'm in this office, often on weekends too. Yay, entrepreneurship. But like, this is my office, except for the largest space in it was being used for people who weren't even going to come and stay because it's too inconvenient, right? At an indeterminate time. So it was really interesting when I stopped and realized that this is a perfect example of not being present, of not being here in this exact moment and looking at what does this moment need. And like to be fair, I was kind of raised to like think ahead, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good. I think it's a good practice to look a little down the road. You know, if I'd gotten rid of the Murphy bed and we were literally going to renovate next week, that would have been silly timing. Um, but I think that my tendency to hold on to things can often hold me back and keep me in a space that's uncomfortable. So when I stopped and looked at my office, which I finally cleaned up over June when I got back from Iceland, I'd caught a cold that kind of wiped me out between that and the autoimmune issues. So I really spent the rest of June just kind of recuperating and recovering and just being pretty gentle. And I decided to clean my office. And my office was finally like immaculately cleaned and looked amazing. And that's when I really realized that there were better options for my office if I were to use it in this present moment the way I need it to be now for me. And so the long and short of it is the Murphy bed is gone, and I've ordered some new furniture that will allow me to, um, it just gives me extra storage, which I drastically need because, um, well, that whole wall had none for the last 7 years. And so when I was ordering the furniture, I thought I'd be ordering like cabinets with glass fronts. And what surprised me was that I was drawn to cabinets that were like not glass fronts. I mean, technically one of them has like cabinet doors, but then glass on the top. But the bottom is like a closed cabinet. And what I realized was that two things. I have so much stuff that I'm overwhelmed. And when I'm overwhelmed, I'm not able to be in the place of like peace of mind and state of mind to go through my belongings and relinquish them. That's already challenging for me. Grew up with in poverty, so I have poverty trauma. I grew up moving like dozens, plural, of times. And so, I have a lot of like compassion for a tiny little bae whose house, like what she called home, changed so frequently. But what didn't change were the things she could hold on to, the stuff. So even though my bedroom changed so many times and my address changed so many times, and all of these places maybe didn't feel like home because I knew I wasn't going to be there very long, the things I owned came with me and they became like a home. They became like a source of stability or security. They became something known. And so I have to, I can joke about how much stuff I collect, and I do because it's a lot. And I also have to have some compassion for the fact that it's partly a trauma response to hold on to stuff and be unwilling to let go because it's the only thing that I could keep the same around me were the things I could hold. So I have to have a lot of compassion for that. And so what I realized was I need to have some space around me so that I'm even able to like soothe that part of me that gets kind of panicky. Because even though I found solace in being able to hold on to stuff, my mom and I also moved so much that like sometimes we just didn't even unpack the boxes and boxes became like furniture, and it would become very overwhelming and this we never really got rid of the stuff. And when I would think of getting rid of stuff, it would cause me like stress. What if I need it? What if I want it later? What if da 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 da, right? So it became really challenging for me. And so as I was sitting here in this clean office, realizing, like when it's clean, it's easy for me to keep it clean. When it's organized and tidy, I'm able to actually sit down and go, I don't know, I want to go through this. I don't know if I want all of these things anymore. I don't know if I really need all of these things anymore, and release them because I'm feeling sourced, I'm feeling grounded, and I'm feeling safe enough to let those things go. But when everything's really cluttered, or like this, my environment, but generally speaking, I promise you, if my environment is cluttered, my external environment, my internal environment is probably also cluttered. And these things start to build, and then I get really overwhelmed, and I'm not very good at dealing. So I'll just feel like kind of trapped. I'll feel claustrophobic maybe, not really claustrophobic, but like I just start to feel like just overwhelmed by stuff, and stuff on my calendar, stuff in my brain, stuff on my desk, stuff on my floor, like the stuff in my life starts to feel really overwhelming. And that's when I know I need to go through and purge my belongings, but that's not the state that I am going to be able to do that action in. Does that make sense? I think that I'm onto something here, and I think it's probably pretty normal for people. But I made myself really wrong for a long time, and I just said I was bad at these things, and I don't think that's true. So I'm excited because the furniture that I've ordered is going to allow me to have spaces for my precious collections that I love, but the doors are going to close and I don't have to be overwhelmed by the visual clutter of them. Now, there's a risk here, and I'm sure some of you are like, but Bay, yes, there is some potential quicksand. The potential quicksand is that the more storage you have, the more you will store things. You are not wrong. This is an experiment that I'm trying. I'm pretty hopeful about it, and I think like everything, this is just an example of realizing that we kind of need to be cognizant about what's going on for us in any given moment. That we need to be present to, like, is your space feeling cluttered? Inner inner space, outer space. Are you feeling cluttered? Is it time to relinquish some things and let them go live a new life? Is it time to create some space so you can just breathe and just be, right? I was looking for photos. I was looking for particular photos from when we moved in, and I happened across a photo of my office, this office, when I just moved in. So I had a different desk, and on the desk was a laptop and one plant. And like I think there was next to my laptop, there was a notebook and the single pen. I don't like when I look at the stuff that's currently on my desk, I don't really want to get rid of it, but that like landscape, that spacious, clean and clear landscape of just a desk, a notebook, a pen, a laptop, and a plant is so soothing to me. So this is something that I'm going to be really working on. One of my commitments this year, but for the rest of my life, I think, is to see how beautiful I can let my life become and how beautiful can I let it be. And in order for my life to be beautiful, I have to be willing to create that space. I know this about me. But what I normally do is I berate myself for collecting things. I'll call myself a hoarder, like I'm calling myself names. I will berate myself for being messy or slobby or um, like working in a clutter, or I'll let the clutter amass and just feel like I'll work in that cluttered space. But when I'm working in a cluttered space, I'm distracted, I'm distractible, right? I mean, literally, there's stuff that's pulling my attention when I work in a cluttered space. It's the same as my email inbox, which is like a whole, I mean, I could be just talking about my inbox. It's the same thing. And I need to get to a space where I feel like I have a chunk of spaciousness, some time to go through it and clear it out. And what I'm not loving is that I notice that I have a wide capacity to allow things to pile up. I can be with a lot of clutter. And what I know about me is that that means I can be with a lot of stress. I can be with a lot of distraction. And that's not a good, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it means that I'm not very focused because I sit down to do this and then I see this other thing that I started that I should have finished. Or um, I sit down to work on my book and then I realize, like, oh, hang on, I've got those 3 emails open, right? So here I'm talking about my desktop, but I could be talking about the stuff in my room as well. So um, it's been a funny situation that finally letting go of a Murphy bed has resulted in so many deep insights that I think are pretty potent to who I am and to being compassionate to what are perhaps like old programming or what I would call survival mechanism choices. So my survival mechanism is clutchy. My survival mechanism wants to hold on to stuff and never let go. It wants to amass multitudes because it worries that we're going to run out, right? I grew up poor, so I need to collect things and I need to hold on to them because what if the bottom falls out and I run out, or what if I need it one day, and you don't want to waste money. You don't want to waste things, right? So I grew up this way. So I have to give her a lot of space and be like, hey, hon, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And we're not going to make you get rid of things that you're not ready to get rid of yet. And we're not going to make you do this under the duress of stress and distraction and clutter. So what I'm doing instead is allowing myself to let this be my space so that I can take my space so that I can make it functional and beautiful for me right now. That might change. I don't know. I'm contemplating repainting the walls. I'm also contemplating how much work that will be. Thoughts, advice? Tell me. Are you pro paint the wall? Tell me, should I paint the walls, guys? Is it worth moving furniture to paint the walls? I'm not sure. I really like the idea of it, except for the work part of it. Tell me, what's your opinion? I'm thinking like a very pale, pale, pale pink. Like it wouldn't even look pink, I don't think, just palest pink. So, um, but all of this is growth for me because typically, remember I said I moved so much that in moving so much, nothing was ever like we never painted walls when I grew. I didn't paint a wall till Adam and I bought our apartment. We never stayed anywhere long enough to like personalize it and make it my own. So my rooms were not like my choice. You just moved in, put your stuff there until you moved out. And you're probably gonna do that 3 more times in a year. So like there's no point. Um, and it's often been challenging for me. I joke about this on my podcast that it's always challenging for me to even move the furniture because I never stayed in a house, in a home long enough to like rejig the room. And so it feels like a real step in the right direction, that I've found some like groundedness and some peace to be able and willing to even change things up a little bit. Um, so yeah, it was interesting to see just what came out of this. I also realized that, um, while I absolutely know and feel ready to like purge my office and get rid of a lot of things, like move a lot of stuff on to their new homes, I also realized that I can't do it when it's all in a state of clutter. I actually need to get the new furniture, I need to put everything away. And then what I can do is I can sit down and go, I'm going to go through this cabinet. And I'm going to go through this cabinet slowly with my own time. But if I'm going through piles of stuff on the floor, first of all, it's on the floor because I don't have space for it to be somewhere. So it's just too overwhelming. And as soon as I don't have space for stuff, I get overwhelmed. And that's just, again, a product of the way I grew up, which is I don't have a space for it, but I can't let it go. So, anyway, these are interesting things that I've learned about myself, right? So, what I've learned is even though I wish I was a minimalist, and I think like, I don't, it's such a weird thing. I kind of think that societally, we, on the one hand, admire minimalism. And I know that we do because any magazine, any like design magazine or website, like when you go to list your house for sale, someone comes through and stages it. And when they stage it, they take like 98% of your belongings and get rid of them. So there's like two things left in the home. And we always, you look and it's so appealing. When you look at a photo of a house that's for sale and you see the emptiness and the spaciousness, it's like, oh, it's so relaxing. But when you see a house, have you seen those? Have you bought a house before? You're looking at the listings and these people like didn't stage it at all. It's just like their morning breakfast is still on the table, like it's a disaster. It's like stressful and it's really hard to imagine yourself in that space. So like the spaciousness is something that does appeal to us, I think, on a cellular level. And yet, we also have this crow-like tendency to acquire things and to amass things and to collect things. And so we simultaneously glorify people who collect and collect and collect. And what I mean by that is like we glorify and admire really wealthy people, but if you stop and think about like, I mean really wealthy people, guys, you know who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a few people, where like they're amassing wealth, and they're amassing more wealth while other people starve to death, while like the environment suffers, which means we suffer. Like we can't kill the environment without killing ourselves. So like on the one hand, we really admire people who like win at collecting, and then on the other hand, we'll call, so if you're wealthy and you're amassing more money, more property, more whatever, more power, more cars, we admire that. But if you're poor and you collect stuff, you're a hoarder, right? And then on the flip side, we admire like these empty, gorgeous, minimalist spaces. That's considered like beautiful. That's what we promote when you're selling a home or when you're doing a magazine design spread. It's the spaciousness, it's the openness, it's the lack of clutter, or what we could consider the lack of real life, right? Real life homes have stuff because people live in them. So what we see in those photographs with those magazines, it's not real. It's not realistic. That's not how it was 3 hours before the photo shoot or the next day, you know? And so we admire the beauty of minimalism and then, um, but we're all still trying to amass more. So again, for me, it's been a really interesting place and question to sit in, which is like, where am I with these things? Like I joke about being like wishing I was a minimalist, and I joke about being like a collector who like borderline hoards things that she loves. And maybe if I stop joking about it, I might realize that there's something that needs my attention, right? And it's actually about creating spaciousness, but not at the expense of the part of me that still wants to keep beautiful things from the journey of my life, beautiful things from people who love me, things that feel important, even though they're still just things. I'm not saying they're the most important. They're not at all. They're just things. They're things. They're things that I wouldn't run back into a burning house for. They're just things. Um, but I had to kind of slow down and be with the question of like, well, wait, who am I in my space and in my home? Does my home, do the spaces that surround me that I've created in my life, do they represent who I am and who I want to be as a person? Are they creating the backdrop of the life I want to have? The answer is like no, it's not. They're not. It's too cluttered. I have too much stuff. Um, and I have spaces that are neither here nor there, like my office was. So I'm curious for you what you're hearing in this. Like, how would you relate to yourself? Do you consider yourself a collector? Do you consider yourself a minimalist? Are you somewhere in the middle, like me? Is it like a tug of war constantly? Um, and what is one space in your life? I mean, I've just listed several of mine, but what is one space in your life that you wish looked different? It could be a physical space, it could be a intangible space. Like, what is a space that you wish looked different? Is it your calendar? Is it your outdoor garden? Is it your mug cabinet? What is it? So I'm really curious to see how you relate to yourself in terms of how you relate to stuff. Let me know. You can put it in there. If you have any questions, you can send them my way. I've seen a few of you here today, but you didn't tell me you were here. So thanks for watching. Thanks for playing along. And I will see you guys next week. Ciao.